ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वती व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी।
सिद्धिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी।
Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, title verse 39. Chapter title, Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. And today's verse is verse 39. Yad yagre chanubandhe cha
यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च
sukham mohanamam atmana
सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः
nidralasya pramaduttam
निन्द्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थं
tattamasam uddhartam
तत्तामस उदारुतम्
yad yagre chanubandhe cha
यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च
sukham mohanamam atmana
सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः
nidralasya pramaduttam
निन्द्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थं
tattamasam uddhartam
तत्तामस उदारुतम्
yad yagre chanubandhe cha
यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च
sukham mohanamam atmana
सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः
nidralasya pramaduttam
निन्द्रा आलस्य प्रमादोत्थं
tattamasam uddhartam.
तत्तामसमुदारुतम्
Anyone would like to lead?
यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च
Yad yagre chanubandhe cha
सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः
sukham mohanamam atmana
निन्द्रा आलस्य प्रमादोत्थं
nidralasya pramaduttam
तत्तामसम् उदारुतम्
tattamasam uddhartam.
तत्तामसम् उदाहृतम्
Anyone else would like to lead?
यत् आग्रे च अनुबन्धे च
Yad
यदग्रे च
agre
अनुबन्धे
chanubandhe
च
cha
सुखं मोहनम् आत्मनः
सुखं
sukham
मोहनम्
mohanam
आत्मनः
atmana
निद्रालस्य प्रमोदत्तम्
निन्द्रा
nidralasya
आलस्य
pramaduttam
प्रमादोत्थं
तत्तामसाम् उदाहृतम्
तत्तामसम्
tattamasam
उदारुतम्
uddhartam. Thank you very much. Word by word meaning. Yat, that which.
यत्
Yet
that
which
Agre, in the beginning.
अग्रे in the
agree
beginning
in the beginning,
Cha, also.
च
cha
also
also,
Anubandhe, at the end.
anubandhe at the end,
Cha, also.
च
cha
also
also,
Sukham, happiness.
सुखं
sukham
happiness
happiness,
Mohanam, illusory.
मोहनम्
mohanam
illusory
illusory,
Atmana, of the self.
आत्मना of the
atmana
self
of the self,
Nidra, sleep.
निद्रा sleep
nindra sleep,
Alasya, laziness.
आलस्य
alasya
laziness
laziness,
Pramada, and illusion.
pramada
pramada
illusion
and illusion,
Uttham, produced of.
उत्तम produced
uttam
of
produced of,
Tat, that.
tat
tad
that
that,
Tamasam,
tamasam
tamasam,
in the mode of ignorance.
in the
in
mode
the
of
mode of
ignorance
ignorance,
Udharatam is said to be.
udahritam
udaratam effectively.
is said to be.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
And that happiness,
and that happiness,
which is blind to self-realization,
which is
Which
blind to
is blind to
self-realization,
self-realization,
which is delusion from beginning
which is
which
delusion
is
from
delusion
beginning
from beginning
to end,
to
to
end,
end,
and which arises from sleep,
which arises
and
from
which
sleep,
arises from
laziness,
laziness,
laziness
and illusion,
and
and
illusion,
illusion,
is said to be of
is said to be
is
of
said to be of
the nature of ignorance.
the
the
nature of
nature of
ignorance.
ignorance.
Anyone would like to read Srila Prabhupada's purport here?
One who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in the mode of darkness, ignorance, and one who has no idea how to act and how not to act is also in the mode of ignorance. For the person in the mode of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is no happiness either in the beginning or at the end. For the person in the mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness in the beginning and at the end in distress. But for the person in the mode of ignorance, there is only distress both in the beginning and at the end.
Thank you so much, Roji. So let's all chant together. अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna,
कृष्ण हरे हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare,
राम
Hare
राम
Rama.
राम हरे हरे नीलाचल निवासाय
आय
नित्याय
नित्याय
परमात्मने
परमात्मने
बलभद्र
बलभद्र
सुभद्राभ्यां
सुभद्राभ्यां
जगन्नाथाय ते नमः.
जगन्नाथाय ते नमः.
Thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha, everyone. So what a verse to ponder about. Today, Lord Krishna is speaking about happiness in the mode of ignorance. So, Lord Krishna, in the beginning, is so systematically going through various different aspects of our life. First, he spoke about analysis of action in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance from 19 to 39. And today is the last verse of that series. In the last 20 verses, if you see, Krishna is taking verses in triplets and in analyzing to Arjuna. So in the first triplet, 20 to 22, he spoke about knowledge in the mode of goodness, knowledge in the mode of passion, knowledge in the uh, ignorance.
Mode of
Then from
ignorance.
23 to 25, he talks about karma, karma in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance in the three verses. Then in the next three verses, he talks about karta or the doer, doer in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. Then he goes to speak out intelligence or buddhi, understanding of the action in mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, 30 to 32 in triplets. Now, then Krishna talks about when you have buddhi, you have determination. And then he talks about buddhi in the mode of determination, in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. And then the fruits of determination is what? Is happiness. And 36 to 39, he speaks about happiness. Generally, he gives happiness in 36, 37, 38, 39, respectively. He talks about happiness in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Last two times, which was very interesting, we all had a great discussion after the class, where he speaks about happiness in the mode of goodness and passion. And today he's talking about happiness in the mode of ignorance. So, see, Krishna is giving this beautiful subject matter in a very succinct, analytical way, in a very scientific way. That's why Bhagavad Gita is spiritual science. You have some activity, you apply some experiment on it, you get a result, which is very similar to what science is all about. So, there is no difference between Krishna's message as he's succinctly putting it. And he uses the word agre. Agre means ahead. Ahead. In 37, he talks about happiness in the mode of goodness. So there he talks about agre. Agre means in the beginning, he talks about anything which is poisonous, but ends in happiness. And it's about spirituality, about our self-realization. It's not about body consciousness, it's about a soul consciousness. And that is mode of goodness, happiness in the mode of goodness. Happiness of goodness, happiness in the mode of goodness is anytime we want to dovetail our actions in self-realization, in understanding who we are, which starts like a poison. He uses the word visham. In 37, he uses the word agre, he uses that of visham, and then he says, ends with amrutam. One who starts with poison, ends with amrutam, and deals about self-realization, and that is happiness in the mode of goodness. And in the next verse, 38, which is the one prior to what we're doing today, he talks about just the opposite. Anything which starts with happiness, but ends in sadness. Anything which starts with amrita, but ends with poison. And it is on the body conscious, not soul conscious, body conscious, because we are the not the body, we are the soul. When we think at the level of body and start with amritam and ends with visha, starts with nectarian, but ends with poison, and that is happiness in the mode of passion. Now, Krishna also uses the word agre here in the beginning. See, Krishna is so nicely captivating Arjuna with so many beautiful, similar aspects. He starts with agre, agre in the beginning, and also he talks about end, and where, and so the person who is totally blind to self-realization, he is ignorant about self-realization. We'll talk about self-realization a little bit, and then it is delusion. It is total darkness. It's full of delusion, and that delusional ability has to do with sleep, which arises from that delusion, arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be the nature of ignorance. So in the 37, he spoke about self-realization. A person in the mode of goodness tries to understand who he is, who he or she is, and where he or she has come from, and what is the relationship between the person and where he has come from. That is self-realization. We are all trying to realize who we are. Actually, it's very difficult in this age of iPhones. People think they know everything, but actually, a person who is self-realized first asks the question that who he is, where he has come from, and eventually he realizes that he is not the body, he is the soul, and he is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. That is self-realization. And a person who is blind to self-realization, who doesn't care. Sometimes you hear people say, this life is once, this life of human being has come once in a lifetime. Let's all enjoy. Let's all do whatever we want to do. And maybe next time we don't get a life. So make the most of it. So these kind of persons are blind to self-realization. They don't know who they are, because that's why they're saying this is only one life we have. But Krishna mentions Punarapi Jananam Punarapi Maranam. Krishna mentions that Urdham Gachanti Saswata. People go to higher levels when you maintain a Saswata. That means when you maintain a mode of goodness, it goes up. In Bhagavad Gita, we all have gone through and discussed that. So a person who is totally blind to self-realization, is totally at body level and he doesn't want to understand who he is, and he's lazy and he is ignorant. Sleep is another term for ignorance, and his illusion, and that is mode of ignorance. So here we have to understand what we are not supposed to do. In the sense, if a person is very much tuned to understanding that he is the body and he is not the soul, and these aspect of realization is coming from laziness, coming from sleep, and these kind of traits are capabilities of a person in the mode of ignorance. So let's try to understand the mode of ignorance to a greater detail. Who is in a mode of ignorance? Do you think our ability to recognize that we are the body and we have to deal with eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, that is the trait of a human being? That is what an animal does all the time: eating, mating, sleeping, defending. How are we different from animals? Because we have the intelligence to probe ourselves, who we are, where we have come from, what is the relationship. And that's the reason why, because if we desire to have an animalistic behavior, Krishna is very merciful. Krishna will say, if you are trying to be animalistic in your way of life, your way of eating, your way of uh, interacting, then so be it, because the free will takes over, and Krishna is very merciful. He lets you drive that. But when we challenge ourselves, to recognize, see that's why having a materialistic life is very easy, because you go with the crowd. But there are very few who probe to be different. There are very few who ask the question, who we are. They try to realize who they are. The whole life will go away, but we'll never figure out who we are. But a person who is realized that who we are, and we are the part and parcel of the Supreme. And because we are part and parcel of the Supreme, anybody we see around are part and parcel of the Supreme. That's why we'll not mistreat others. Why spirituality is important? Nowadays, a question comes that why don't we do Bata Memorial Hospital? Why don't we do XYZ Memorial Hospital? Because by then we are going to give charity and help to others. But if we have not figured out that who we are, and the people around us, the animals and birds around us, are part and parcel of the Supreme, because they're part and parcel of the Supreme, we all have come from the same source. We will shun cruelty. We'll treat everyone with respect. So when we become Krishna conscious, when we were aware of the fact that Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasva Prabhava, Aham Bija Pradapita, that means everything comes from him, we'll treat everybody with respect. We'll not envy others. Spiritualism is an ability to live and coexist together. If everybody resorts to spirituality, whatever the spirituality is, whether they are following, the this path or that path, every spiritual activity leads to a, a stage where we shun cruelty, where we treat everyone with respect, we shun envy, we get rid of greed from our system, get rid of ego and ahankar of the system. That's why a tree which is full of fruits is half mast, and a tree without anything is standing up. So the traits of self-realizations are secondary byproducts of being self-realized or being spiritual or being Krishna conscious. So if we are trying not to realize who we are totally getting into trying to multiply money and be with the friends where we say, this is the only life we have got, and today is Friday. Let's, uh, we are actually blind to self realization, which is what Krishna is mentioning here. And also, Krishna is mentioning a person who is in the mode of ignorance, he resorts to laziness. And we have to shun that laziness from our life. We have to wake up early in the morning and try to go to Mangalarti at 4:30 in our temple and take beautiful darshan of Lord Jagannath, Lord Shyam Sundar, and Gaur Nitai at morning at 4:30. So that why it is Mangalarti? Because the whole day will be Mangal for you. And that spiritualism, wherein what is the point of our devotees waking up at 4:30 and going to ISKCON of Central New Jersey in Plainfield at 4:30 in the morning? Because they have realized 18.37, where Krishna says, in Agre, it is poisonous in the sense waking up at 3 o'clock, taking bath and getting out of the comforter, which is so cozy. But finally, when we have the darshan of the beautiful Lord in the morning and we go through the prayers, chant, and then hear Srimad Bhagavatam, your life becomes fulfilled. And that's the reason why people who live in ISKCON temples and lead a very Krishna conscious life, you will see an element of happiness because that happiness is for a higher taste. And that higher taste is built over a period of time. They could have easily gone and done very good jobs. They could have easily made money. Making money is not a very difficult thing if you think about. But they choose to be different. Today, on a Friday evening, you choose not to go to potluck parties, but choose to come and discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, where you understand that who we are and where we have come from. So anything where we are making progress in our ability to understand who we are, prone to self-realization, we are going away from the mode of ignorance. A person who is in the mode of ignorance doesn't care about who he is and where he has come from. He just leads a life like an animal, and animals, they will eat uh, on the expense of others. They can't understand that we all are part and parcel of the Supreme, and we need to have some element of, of compassion. So, if compassion is not getting built into our system, if we are not shunning envy from our system and we're still being proud, we're not humble enough, then we realize these are the traits which Krishna is professing in Bhagavad Gita, which we are not aligning ourselves with. So, happiness in the mode of ignorance is about thinking that self realization has no place in our life, in the sense that we don't have to be self realized. And that is that understanding or any happiness which is born out of that lack of understanding that we have to be self realized is happiness in the mode of ignorance. And at the same time, it's the delusional ability that, and that in that mode, a person who is in the mode of ignorance is lazy. He is often, laziness is a very big term in everybody's life, and you realize some people are sleeping till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. They really don't want to leave the bed, and that is very common. In nowadays, you see students are reading until the midnight and beyond, and next day they can't even wake up. It's not because they are very studious; it's because they are lazy, and that laziness is what Krishna is talking about in this beautiful verse. Krishna is using the word nidralasya, ladies, and pramada, and they are trying to get excitement from illusory energy of the Lord and nidra. So nidra, alasya, pramada, and these are the things. A person who is loving too much of sleep and not able to wake up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock to do his duties, and is full of laziness, not able to do his prescribed duty, and is illusory uh, in the sense in trying to enjoy the illusory energy of the Lord in trying to have a mundane activity of sense enjoyment, and who is away from self-realization. Those people who, whenever they are happy, that happiness is in the mode of tamasam, tat tamasam udharatam. That means it's said to be, udharata means that's an example. Udharata means is said to be uh, in the mode of ignorance. So we should shun darkness from our life. We should shun laziness from our life. We should sleep less, be alert. Because if you sleep too much, you realize that the muscles in your body, which heart is a muscle, it tends to become weak. And if you're alert and you're letting your heart work, yeah. So laziness is just not bad for our uh, mental health, it is also bad for our physical health. So, trying to wake up early and going to Mangalarti in the morning and cleansing ourselves by doing the chanting and hearing the names of the Lord in the beginning and recognizing that who we are is actually taking us away from tamasam. And so always try to invest in recognizing who we are, have a sense of self realization, shun sleep, shun laziness, and shun illusion. If you do these four things, as Krishna is saying, you are out of mode of ignorance and you will be very happy. And that happiness is just not material happiness. That happiness is happiness with bliss. You will have a lot of bliss in your ability to have darshan of the Lord, hearing uh, pastimes of the Lord and associating with devotees, and so on and so forth. And that will make you radiate with happiness, and that radiation will transcend and it will provide energy for you to replenish your life and be fresh, and always seek the questions, because the same words can be told in 100 different ways by 100 different devotees of the Lord, because their realizations are different, because Krishna touches devotee by various different ways in which they can absorb Krishna's mercy. So take to association of devotees and shun laziness, shun darkness in your lives, and let self-realization be the goal of all your life, and that will please Krishna. So with that, like to end here, like to hear your thoughts about this beautiful subject matter. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You have any thoughts? You have any questions? You have any reflections? Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Want to say something?
Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Ratnaguru.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. No, thanks for the good class, Prabhuji. Very beautifully explained. I'm not going to say anything different than, because you have covered everything and Krishna also covered everything. I'm just sharing my points and the realization when you spoke, Prabhuji. So, fundamentally, how I understood this shloka is, Prabhuji, is because um, all this is because we misuse our freedom, what free will which you have mentioned, the misuse of the freedom and the free will which Krishna has given us. So, what is the spectrum of the free will? The spectrum of the free will is that, as you said, we can do anything we want. Uh, we don't have any restrictions. Basically, we are not bound. What we call unbound, right? So that is why we. So the misuse, if the freedom is utilized correctly, we go to self-realization. If the freedom is misused, we go to illusion. So here Krishna is talking of the illusion part, right? Because of the misuse of the fundamental problem it is we are using the misuse of freedom. We have the freedom to get up early, we have the freedom to get up late. In the mode of ignorance, we are sleeping late. We have the freedom of going to temple or not going to temple, but watch something movie or a um, serial or something which is interesting to the material mind. Similarly, we can be curious about the politics, or we can be curious about Atato Brahma Jigyasa. We have that freedom also. So, in essence, what we are doing here is what Krishna is trying to tell is that we have to judiciously use our freedom, Prabhuji. So, illusion, self realization, on the other hand, which we have talked many times, but I wanted to give in this context of the freedom. In the context of this freedom, the self realization fundamentally is because we think we are the body, but we are not the body, we are the soul, which is what the essence of. That is where it triggered Arjuna also, that the whole second chapter is hinged on that, and whole Bhagavad Gita hinged on that it is not the body. And we think we are freedom, but we are not free. We are part and parcel of a God. We are part and parcel of a whole thing. God is wholesome and we are only part and parcel. But our freedom makes us think that no, there is no God. Um, uh, what I can control everything, I can do anything in my purview. So that is where we neglect God, and that is because of the misuse of our free will, Prabhuji. So I'll just talk on ignorance, Prabhuji. Ignorance is or illusion is mainly because there is no Brahma Jigyasa, Prabhuji. Unless we know what, for example, even let's talk in the material world, Prabhuji, ignorance. Um, I will I will tell that acceleration is rate of change of velocity, right, Prabhuji? We can cram that. We can be ignorant about it, but whether it is a positive acceleration or a negative acceleration depends upon your initial and final velocities, right? So that is in the material, we can cram those things, formulas, v is equal to u plus at or s is equal to ut plus half at square, but we may not have even the realization of what those formulas are. So similarly, in our the main purpose of our life is atato brahma jigyasa, and why we are put into illusion is because we are not trying to find out what is our constitutional position, which Prabhupada has very correctly placed, has tried to explain that our constitutional position is to serve the Lord and serve the humanity. And coming to laziness, Prabhuji, there is a saying that comfort comes as guest, tries to linger as host, and tries to enslave us in the end. So it comes as guest. We think, it's good. Let me sleep for half an hour more. Then what happens? Then it lingers as host. Oh, okay, another half an hour. And enslaves us, and we sleep until 8:39, right? So laziness is basically uh, is is a manifestation of this. It's coming from comfort only, Prabhuji. If we are too comfortable, we become lazy. We have water. We are very lucky, Prabhuji. When we go to our washroom or bathroom and turn the tap, we get the water. But there are places on this earth where people go 5-10 miles and get the water. So The laziness is mainly because of the comfort we are trying to make it, Prabhuji. And sleep also, Prabhuji, we are deviating from the misusing the freedom again, that we are not following the sun. The fundamental principle is that we have to follow the sun, but we are not. In the material life also, if we do not study, Prabhuji, we do not understand. Because we are sleeping too much. Oh, okay, I'll study tomorrow, I'll study day after tomorrow. Then we will never study. Or if we don't study in the morning, my practical example, Prabhuji, I wouldn't have understood what is happening during the day when what teacher is talking. I would have been lost. So that is because the sleep in the morning hours, if we study in the morning hours, that is, and it enlightens us basically, Prabhuji. So similarly, if we do some spiritual activity by avoiding the sleep, then we can be more self-realized, Prabhuji.
Mhm.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I just
Very
want to-
nice, Ru. You touched on one thing which I want to sort of extend.
Sure, Prabhuji.
You spoke about free will, right?
Right.
So free will is an ability for us, or anyone for that matter, to think that we are independent
Right.
and we have free to do whatever we want. But you also mentioned about the part and the whole. As I
Mhm.
mentioned, we
Right.
are souls, but we are part of a supreme soul or super soul, and we are connected with that relationship. And that understanding has been devoid in our ability. And when that understanding is gone, when a person thinks that he is wholesome and is not part of a whole, then that is misusing the free will. Let's take an example. Newton, for example, it's not the first time that Newton saw the apple falling for the first time. Newton has seen apple fall many times before, but he agrees after all this laws of gravity and everything. Newton was a spiritual person. He says that Krishna mentions, right, in Bhagavad Gita, I give intelligence. So it is not the first time that Newton has seen the apple fall. He has seen in the past, but that intelligence which Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, I've been I give intelligence to those who I desire, and I take away intelligence as well. In Bhagavad Gita, another verse, we'll get into that. But but Newton recognizes that at that point in time, Lord has given me that intelligence to probe the fact that apple has fallen and why it has fallen. It is not the first time I have seen apple fall, but that is the time when I started probing, is that intelligence which is given to them, given to him in this example. So this top scientist is able to recognize, and we getting little things here, little things there, and we think this life is for myself and I can lead the life as if there is no life in future. Life comes from life, and based on our activity, we go up or down, whatever it is mentioned in so many times. So thinking us to be part and parcel of the Supreme, and we are part of the whole. And as Lord has mentioned, He gives intelligence to us. So, so this is self-realization, this ability to realize, for Newton to realize that that intelligence was given to me by mercy of whoever, Lord or whatever he chose to say. But that realization that he gave me intelligence at that point in time to unravel the mystery for the whole world is actually a mercy. Is actually a mercy. And thinking that what Newton achieved is everything of Newton and there is no hand of God is foolishness. And that aspect, we hope all the devotees of the Lord get to realize and think that there is a power or a superpower which is driving us in many different directions. You might have seen this. Actually, I have experienced it. God has some plans, and the plans change. Thinking that we can drive our plans is foolishness because Lord knows more about us than ourselves. So let him be the driver of our chariot, life's chariot, because he knows more than us. And that thought process is that sheer that thought process or that surrender is enough for us to lead a very blissful life. And you can be fearless because there is somebody else who is taking care of you. And the fearless action will be seen. That's the reason why Srila Prabhupada was so fearless in his ability. He was a 69-year-old person coming on a freight ship, taking 1 month to get from India to Boston. Unthinkable, but it's just possible because he was fully surrendered. So please take to the aspect of um, having full surrender. I hope some of these discussions with devotees, at Prabhuji mentioned, so many things, scientific examples he gave about illusion, laziness, free will, part and parcel of the whole, should steer us to the direction that we become more conscious of the whole, conscious of the Supreme. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your views and reflections.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments? Any other?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, and it was a wonderful class. Actually, this class meant a lot to me because even few months back, one of my office colleagues, my mom also used to say our relations had a similar thought process regarding their actions. Like, if we even warned them saying, this might not do good for your karma, it's time for you to awaken. If we even give these advices, what they will say to us is they will judge us saying we are overthinking. We are overthinking. We are thinking about the next janma is overthinking process, it seems. So I didn't know how to answer them, but this class was a perfect answer. Which actually, I know that Prabhupada has also told in books that how he differentiates a human from all the activities an animal does. But it didn't help me connect to the kind of response ignorant people give us. So this was a nice class actually altogether. And I thank you all for that. And thank you to Krishna also for helping me to listen to this class today. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Balaji, for sharing your reflections and the answers to many questions in our life. You realize that once we are entangled in material aspects, we have more questions. But when we become part and parcel of a devotee club, which is essentially what Bhakti Vriksha is all about, we get everybody else's view, and because uh, Prabhuji's scientific analogy around part and whole, and how soul is part and parcel of the super soul, and his scientific temper got us into a discussion which we could relate to, which I had heard. So we grow with devotees and we clear a lot of doubts about who we are along with devotees. That's the reason why Bhagavad Gita is a FAQ where Krishna was answering to Arjuna, and anyone who attends Bhakti Vriksha, it's Bhakti Vriksha on a Friday evening today. A lot of people are into the material pramada. Krishna uses the word pramada or intoxication and things like that. The things which gives makes you feel high, but that's illusory. But in the association of devotees, a lot of this get cleared. So sometimes when we are in a smaller group, we are frank, we're very free to ask questions which clear a lot of doubts about our lives. So please attend, if you can, on a regular basis, because devotees are very dear to Krishna. And when you're along with devotees and everybody have the same wavelength of, speaking or receiving, then it opens up a lot of, it clears a lot of doubts in our mind. So that's the reason why uh, some of our acharyas have emphasized to attend Bhakti Vrikshas regularly. So that, and thank you, Mataji, for sharing that aspect. And many times the classes may not be very interesting, but that should not deter us from attending, because because you're associating with the devotees of the Supreme who have the single mind, and they have shunned going to a party on a Friday evening, but trying to congregate to glorify the Supreme. And that itself is a very special club we all should aspire to attend. Sometimes we have travel plans here and there, but just being in the company of the devotees is a great thing, and we all learn from each other's success and realizations.
True, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
also
you.
Mataji, I want to add one point. What Bhagavad Gita, 2 points actually, Mataji. If you have that desire, Mataji, that you had the desire to answer that perplexity which you faced when somebody told that it's overthinking. So how Krishna acts is, Mataji, that he makes you speak through these forums and devotees, Mataji, who are either they have gone through the same similar process of um, confusion, and they got cleared through the parampara, through this association. That is what Prabhupada told. A is the first word of the Krishna consciousness: association, books, chanting, and then devotional service, right? So a association, and Krishna's tells that Tushyanticha Ramanticha in one of the I don't remember the verses, Mataji, numbers, but he says that Bhakti Vriksha is nothing but it is a discussion about the self-realization. And when you do that, he gives you the intelligence, or he provides you the opportunity to clear your doubts or your understanding, Mataji. That is what is this Bhakti Vriksha about. That it is a place where you're either you can clear someone's doubt or your doubts will be cleared, or in the discussion both of the people's doubts, objects doubts are cleared. So wanted to add that, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, that's why I openly told as a comment, so that definitely there are other devotees who can end up facing the issue I did. That time they can give a bold answer to them. Not in a, yeah, definitely in a challenging mode, but yes, at least
Yeah, you
that
had
they, yeah.
understanding, Mataji. You're trying to
Yeah.
basically clear the understanding. That is what Brahma Jigyasa is, right? You had that question, or whoever asked that question, right? That
Hmm.
is it overthinking or not? That leads to the self probing. You are probing yourself. You started the process, so Krishna will take it from there. Once the process is started, he will take it from there, and he will lead you to the next step, to the next step, to the next step, like that, Mataji. We all are learning, Mataji. We all are learning either through experience or through interaction or through books, Mataji, Prabhupada's books. So there are many avenues. Whichever avenue is currently suitable, Krishna, it's the same. Artificial intelligence is a concept of that only. Whatever you see on the YouTube, similar things come out, right? So similarly, if you have that desire in your intelligence that I need to get an answer, Krishna provides, Mataji. He's the architect of this natural intelligence, not artificial. The architect of the natural
Yeah,
intelligence.
that's true, Prabhuji. Yeah.
So he provides you that way, Mataji. That's what I wanted to add.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts, Prajapati Prabhu, Vipin Prabhu,
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji.
Pratap Prabhu?
Thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So Vipin Prabhu and Prajapati Prabhu, you are now in Ahmedabad.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Vipin Prabhu, thank you for joining from India. And Anuradha Mataji, thank you for joining from Canada. And Pratap Prabhu and Sridhar Prabhu, you have any reflections?
I'm good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pratap Prabhu. Good to talk to you after a long time. Sridhar Prabhu, you are good?
Thank you.
So let's end here. We'll have Bhagavad Gita discussion on the next verse next Friday, 8 p.m. So please join. Let's offer obeisances at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas by saying Vancha kalpataru Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Vaishnavavrinda ki Jai Bhagavad Gita ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.